that you want to view.
Yes,
You
Fred,
have some information here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I am so sorry to interrupt. We are going to record, right?
Say that again.
We're going to record, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think I clicked on recording. Yes.
All righty. Thank you. My apologies. Just
okay.
Double.
Right. So, yeah, you can navigate to any plant that you have access to. To get back to this home screen, if you're in one of the other menu options and you kind of get lost, you can always click on the little home button here. If you need help with anything, we have some documentation here that you can download and view that'll walk you through pretty much all the menu items here. All right. To get your reports, you would go to production reports, where you can select the routes or all routes and print out the reports, your 2-column route books. You can recreate reports. In the analysis section, you can do some analysis on particular products or particular days and create a report for that. It's really not used for delivery, but you can create a report that you can use for analysis. Let's say you want to see all the AGCs on all your routes. You want to have a 7-day active list for that. You can do that here. In your bundle counter, you can use this tool to, looks like there was some work done here, where you can create a report that will give you the number of bundles per route. And depending on the bundle count for the day, you would enter that here, select your product for home delivery, and create a bundle count report that'll give you the number of bundles and loose copies you need per route. The report preferences, let me go back home. Report preferences is where you have plant report preferences, where you really want to default to. This will provide you with all the different reports at the plant level. In here, you can check off the items that you want displayed or uncheck what you don't want displayed on your reports. And this report preference will be applied to all routes. The route report preference is for specific routes that want something different than what you've set up in the plant report preference. The reporting groups is where you can copy route, not where you can copy, where you can print out groups of routes. So if you have, say, a group of routes that start early, you can create a group here. You can change this header to early, select the routes that come in early, and you can select the printer button here and select the reports that you want to print for those groups. The complaints section is where you can pull up today's complaints. We went over some of this yesterday. Where you'll have all the information displayed here for the day. Today's totals, complaints, you had 7. You can download this information here by clicking on this little Excel button here. If you just want to review just the recoverable complaints, you can select just the ones that have the Y indicator just to view those. You can change your custom view by selecting or unselecting the items you want to see or not see. Hot complaints we went over yesterday. You really don't have any hot complaints. Recoverable complaints and verification. We can take a look at that. This is where you can see complaints that are up for recovery. You'll have the publication reason code here. So these were missed papers You have the recovery route, which you can edit and add a recovery route here that you want to deliver this recovery. Right, and you have other information here regarding these recoveries, and you can download this information here. For verification, you can select the route, see if we have anything here. So we have a route here with a recovery. You could see it on a Google map, so you have an idea of where it's located. You have information about the recovery, and you have information on whether it's been confirmed or not. And there's some more to this, where Debbie will be going over some of that, where carrier would be able to confirm this information or this recovery, and that'll show up here. Or you can go in and confirm it yourself. You'll notice here, if I were to click that, it'll give you coordinates of where that recovery happened. And it'll tell you the distance where I'm located versus the location of the recovery. And since I'm in New York, it's obvious that I didn't recover that. So, but this is how you can check and confirm your recoveries or add a note. Let's see. Everything else here we pretty much went over yesterday. Is there any questions on any of the complaints options that we have here? Yeah, previous date repeat complaints. Obviously, those are accounts that have repeat complaint. The previous day's complaints. So obviously yesterday's complaints. Next day recoverable are recoveries for the next day. And CPM is the complaints per thousand. Service stops. Let's see if I don't think we have any information here. We can try. Let's see. No, you don't have any information here for that. And CPM dashboard, I think we went over that yesterday, which I don't think you have any information for there either. Yeah, you have a little bit. So for this particular route, you had a draw of 122. You had a total of 3 complaints. That's CPM of 24.59. And you could view some details of that, of what the complaints were. The other routes here, we don't see any information here. So you'll have the worst 10 routes, the worst 100 routes, worst 500 routes, and you can have this information refresh in 5 minutes. Right, you have a route view and you have a plant view. So this would be for the entire plant. Any comments or questions on CPM dashboard? Okay, so today we're going to go over these 2 menu options here. The starts and mails, where you could view the new starts, the account infos, where you can pull up account information on any particular account. Address lookup is so that you can verify that an address is in your service area, and you can download all your deliveries in your plant. The route management tab here will allow you to enter a late truck, and that's if a particular a product didn't get to your plant in time enough for carriers to deliver it, and you want that product to go out the next day and show on the route books. You can set that up using this tool. The dispatching section is if you have a carrier that you want that may not have shown up, and you want to split that route and hand out a route book to another carrier. You can do that here. The geocoding is where you can pin accounts that aren't routed. Mostly everything in these plans have been pinned already, and everything else would need to be a street draw. So there won't be too much pinning going on here. The reassignments is where you can reassign deliveries from one route to another just for the day. Overrides is where you can take an address or take an account, and you could override it from one route to another. Usually you would do this with a work area design. In your environments, it's your client level routing. You're providing your route values to us for each account. So you would change, the best way to do it now would be to change it on your end so that that particular account goes to the route that it belongs on. Route Viewer will allow you to view your routes and how they relate to other routes on a map. Sequencing is where you can sequence a route in the order of the delivery. Messages is where you can add a message to a route book or a message to the news portal. Moves is where you can move an account from one plant to another. I don't know if you'll really be using that. I can walk you through how to do it. A travel path viewer will just allow you to, it's similar to the route viewer, except it'll show you the travel path of the deliveries in the order that they are sequenced. So let's get started with the new starts. Let me go here. Under starts and mail. And if you only have access to one plant, you'll only see that one plant here. If you have access to multiple plants, you'll see all the plants that you have access to. So we want to pick the plant that we want to work with, 9162. And let's just say we want to see all products, and we want to see the new starts for the ads action for today. So we want to just get that information. And this is what it looks like. So anytime you see this little Excel spreadsheet button here, that means that you can download this information for further analysis. Here you'll get the account number, the plant number, the route number. These new starts appeared on. You'll have the product, the transaction type. So that's a new start. The date of delivery, and you have all the information regarding that account. You can also get restarts, address change, and stops if you want to see that information. Again, you can download it here. Okay.
What is between an NS and an NSAC?
A new start with an address change.
Okay, so it's still a current customer, but they're just moving.
Right.
Okay.
Well, you have this is an address change. That would be a current address, a current delivery that has an address change. This would be a new start. It's an account that didn't start yet, but they changed the address to the account.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So for account info, here's where you can put in information to find an account. You can put in here on the address line here, the address, the city, state, and zip, and you can get the account information that way. You can also pull up information by phone number or an account number. So let's see, I'm going to find an account number. Let me see if I can pull everything up. Okay. All right, so you have some basic information here about the account. As you can see, you have the account number here. You have an indication that it's an active account. That's what the Y is for. You have the product, the address information here. The label indicator is false, so this person does not get a label. You have a delivery type Z1, that means it's a home delivery. You have other information here, whether it's on vacation, hold or not, you would see some information here. Address instructions. So that's good basic info there. You'll have the plant that it's valid in, and you'll have the delivery map, the draw per day. Let's see. You have some other geocoding information here. Down here, you would have some buttons that may be useful, like this one here, submit for an address refresh. Say this account had a or was misgeocoded possibly, or maybe in the wrong plant, and you know that it may go to another plant. You may want to come here and submit it for an account refresh, and that means that the account would be re-geocoded in a sense, and if the system was set up correctly, then it should go to the correct plant. Otherwise, we would need to make a georouter change, probably on the border, to make sure that that account goes to the correct plant, or move it to that. Usually, submitting it for an account refresh would work. Submitting it for an address checking would be going to this address lookup, and we'll get to that. The access code here, this is where you can change the access code, which is basically tied to a delivery time. The default delivery time is 15 seconds. I believe that you guys are going to start passing through some delivery times on some accounts where there may be more time needed for delivery. And you can also put in address instructions there up to 125 characters on that particular account and that address. You have some other tabs here that might be of interest to you, like the history transactions. This will give you a list. It's not really giving me a list right now, so probably really not too much history on this particular account, but you would see, you know, all the times that this account either changed routes or had a start and a stop or restart. All that type of history would be here. Service location information. This is the information that was processed on the account. And I'll show you how to pull up your entire service location table. Complaints is where you can see a list of complaints for this particular account. And a route history, this will give you a history of what route delivered this account. So there may be times where a route may have delivered, a different route may have delivered this account because you did a reassignment, and you would notice that here. I'm really not going to get into the route versus WAD route. That's going to be the same for you at this point. Work area designs, we're not really doing a work area design because you are client level routing. But this is the information that will be provided here for that. Any comments or questions on the new starts or account info?
Yeah, Fred, when you enter the delivery instructions in, will that be overwritten by news cycle each night? That's currently where we delivery instructions right now.
Yeah, there's two. There's an address instruction and a delivery instruction that could be added to it as another instruction.
Okay, but will they stay in the book at that point, or will they be overwritten each evening when we do the download from news cycle?
Well, in your it won't overwrite everything. Two different types of instruction. One's for an address, the address instruction, and one's is a separate delivery instruction. So you would see both of those. And you would have to go into your report preference for it to display in your report. So let me go back here. Let's cancel this. If you go into you have so what you're showing is delivery instructions. That's the information that's in the report. You also have an address instruction that would display if you were to add that particular feature there that I just showed you, an address instruction.
Okay, so
add it
to our file.
The feedback. Let's go here.
I said the delivery instructions you get through our file.
Yes.
And then the address instructions are something that can be added in your system and would, so basically if they had address instructions and delivery instructions, actually both of them would show up on the route books if they were both checked.
If they were both checked, yes.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? So again, you could put in an address here, and you can look up an address that way, an account that way, or by a phone number, or by an account. And if it's a particular product that you want to view, then you would select a particular product with that account number. If there's an account number that has multiple products here, you'll get the option to select which one you want to view. Okay. The address lookup. This is where you can find out information whether a particular address is in your delivery area. So let me see. Let's pull up an address here. And this is where and I believe this is an AJ. So I entered the product. I also entered the address, the last line here. For the U.S., you can select what type of delivery. Z1 is a home delivery. And this will give you information of where it's located, some longitude and latitude information. And it'll give you the plant that it belongs to. If this is incorrect, then there would need to be an account move or a georouter adjustment to move this account to the correct plant. Right, so that's how you would be able to see that information. If you wanted to view all the deliveries in your plant, you can come here and go to download deliveries. You can select your plant. You would always want to select the CMP. And you can show progress. And here you can download the locations for your plant. And that's what I'm looking at right now. So what do you get here? You get a lot of information. You have the plant, you have some XY coordinates, you have what side of the street it's on, you have whether it's active or not active. If it's 1, it's an active account. If it's 0, it's not active. You have what today's draw is. You'll have information on whether it's on a vacation hold or not. The client, the account number, the product, customer classification. That's a Z1. That means it's a home delivery. And of course, you have address information here. If an account is to receive a label, the label indicator would be Y. You have delivery instructions. And let's see, what else? You have other information here, like the draw per day, a delivery map, some other geocoding information, and the route sequence that that particular account falls on. So you could download this information into an Excel spreadsheet and do some analysis. Any comments or questions on how to download all of your accounts? Okay. Moving on to route management. So with the late truck, here's where if you have a particular product, it didn't get to your plant in time enough to disperse out to the carriers for today, and you want that product to show up in the route book for tomorrow or for another day in the future. So this is where you would set this up. So here you would select from whatever the delivery day was, which today. And you'll see that there's a lot of information that'll automatically here. Okay. On the left side here is everything that would be included. On the right side is everything that would be excluded. So for the route section here, all the routes are included unless you move a route over here to exclude it. That means if you were to move a route over here, this route would not receive the late truck information in the route book for tomorrow. Only these routes will. Let's just say most of the routes or all the routes you really don't, let's see, you really don't want them all. You only want these two to receive the information in the route book for tomorrow. So you would exclude all the other routes. And only these two routes will receive the information. None of these will. Okay. Then you would have to include the product that you want to show in the route book for tomorrow. So let's just say it's the AJC. So we want to include that into our late truck. So what we have set up right now is from today, we want to run these two route books for the AJC. And we want to show that in tomorrow's route book. So the data from today for these two routes, for this product, is going to show in tomorrow's route book. And we would schedule that run. Any comments or questions on how you would set up a late truck?
Yeah, but yes, can you tell me how does that appear in the route book? So does that appear like with two different AJCs, or does it have a date in there from the previous date?
Yeah, it'll show a separate line item for that product with the date that it was originally delivered for.
Gotcha.
For delivery. So
right.
it'll noted on the route book.
Okay.
So in other words, Clarence, I know that you guys did not get your Financial Times today.
Correct.
You could actually move this, you could move your entire plant for Financial Times, and on tomorrow's route book, it would say, deliver today's Financial Time as well as deliver yesterday's Financial Time. Now,
Yes,
let's say the customer went on vacation starting tomorrow. Fred, would it show up to deliver today's Financial Times tomorrow and not tomorrow's Financial Times? Or would it take it out?
If a customer was on vacation today?
No, he's active today, but he goes on vacation starting tomorrow.
Well, it would go on a vacation home. If they put in a vacation home for that particular year, it would go on a vacation home.
Okay. So Financial Times and Barron's would be a good time to use this when Barron's don't show up.
Right. So Barron's on a Saturday. If you want to deliver those on Sunday, when needed, you can come here and create a late truck entry for the Barron's product from Saturday to move to Sunday, show up at Sunday's route book. And that'll just be for that one time. That wouldn't be permanent. It's not a permanent change.
Right. Okay.
All right. So for the example that you just did for the Financial Times, it would be set up for today for this plant. From the final, you have all of your routes included, and you included the Financial Times, and you could schedule that run to show up in tomorrow's route book, if that's what you wanted. Okay? All right. Any other questions about how to set up a late truck? Okay, dispatching. Dispatching is where, like I mentioned before, is if you have a situation where you want to combine routes or split a route into 2 or 3 or more routes for someone else to deliver, you can do that here. So let's just say a carrier was out. You wanted to select their route and you wanted to create 2 routes out of it for all their products. And you want to create a 2-column route book. And you give it a name. You can name it whatever you want. and you would submit that. So in the background, what this is going to do is going to process 2 route books. It's going to split this route. It's going to give it the best sequence for each route, and it's going to create 2 column route books for it. Okay. So you could also recreate routes here if you wanted to, and it's created in a different report. You can resequence your routes here, which is basically optimizing your route. So let's just say a carrier was delivering a route with their own sequence that they entered through their mobile DSP portal, and you have a new carrier that's now delivering this route, and you wanted to re-optimize that route. You can come here and re-optimize that route. You could combine routes. Let's just say you want to, it's a carrier that has 2 routes and you want to see what it looks like in 1 route book. You can select those 2 routes and combine them into 1, or multiple routes and combine them into whatever number you want to combine them into. So you may want to play around with this and see what you get, because this could be a useful tool when, especially if someone is out and you want to split their route book and give pieces of it to another person to deliver. If I go into the dispatching section, you'll see the split that I created, and it's not ready yet, so it's still in a pending status. So while that's working, does anyone have any questions of how to use the dispatching tool?
So this is just for that, correct?
This is just for today. This is not a permanent fix. Okay? It's just for today. Let's see. Not done yet. Any other questions while we're here? So again, you could split a route into 2, you could split it into 3, depending on what you're looking for. You change that number to anything you want. You could recreate routes. You could resequence or re-optimize a route. You can combine a number of routes. Say if I wanted to select these 3 routes, let's select 4 routes, and we want to combine them into 3 routes. And let me see, I'll just do that like that. And I'll do 3. So basically what this is going to do is going to take these 4 routes. It's going to create 3 routes out of it, including all the products. It's going to give me 2 column route books. Let's see if the split is done. Okay, so the split's done. So when I select the split, I see that I have 2 routes here and a summary report. So let's take a look at the summary report. So this will give you information on Route 1, Route 2. It's split it basically close to the same amount of time, distance. One has 8 locations, the other has 50. And you have the 2-column route book. And as you can see, it looks just like the regular 2-column route book, except this route book is splitting the original route into 2, and it optimized the route for the subscribers that fall on each. Okay. And go to the summary. This is the summary for this particular route. Route 1, 74 AJCs, 2 UTs, and 6 WJs. Okay, route 2, you have a delivery list. Looks like this is a little bit different. Right. And that's how that looks. This one looks like it has addresses that are not routed. That's why they're listing like this. At the top of the route book. So since you're providing us a route number, we know what route it's on, so it'll be on the route book that's supposed to deliver these accounts. But since there's some street drawing that needs to be done, these aren't routed or sequenced within the route book. That's listed at the top. Then you'll get to the first delivery that is sequenced and so on, just like a regular route book. And you could scroll down to the bottom and you'll get the information of the total byproduct here with the total time. Okay. If you wanted to assign these routes to another carrier, then you can, for route 1, you could select the person who's responsible for another route to deliver that. You could assign it. And you can assign this one to that one. And you could assign those routes. That means that everything associated in the background as far as compensation else will be tied to the assigned route, the carrier that's assigned to that route for pay and everything else. Any questions on dispatching? All right.
Fred, when you assign the route to another carrier, if you recreate the route book, will it combine those 2 routes into one route book?
No, you have the route books here. This is assigning the delivery to a particular carrier.
Okay.
So that they get credit for that delivery.
So that's basically for compensation purposes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Dispatching. Okay. I'm going to jump over geocoding and I'm going to go to reassignments. Since we're kind of talking about this particular topic, reassignments is where you can move addresses or accounts from one route to another. It'll just be for that day or for today. But it's another way where you could do a similar thing as dispatching, but you can hand select what you want to move to another route. So let's just say I wanted to move everything on this route to be delivered by someone else today. I can do that here. And if I click on confirm, everything will move to that route. And then at that point, what would I need to do? I would need here in reports and recreate the route. I don't remember which one I selected. You would recreate that route. When you recreate the route, everything will show up in that one route book that you moved from the other route. That reassignment would just be for the day. It'll go back to normal the next processing day, next day. So that's another way that you can kind of do dispatching manually, like that, using reassignments. So again, it would come here. If you have multiple plants, you can select the plants you want, select the route, accounts from, select individual addresses, or you could select everything. Or you can select everything. Then you can go down to the bottom and update the route, select the routes you want to move it to. Then recreate your route. Good. That's how you would do reassignments. Any questions on that? Okay, back to geocoding. Geocoding is where you can find accounts that are unmatched, or that's a kickout, as we call them kickout, and see whether you can pin that account or not. And it'll give you, if you can, it'll give you candidates that you can pin to. So as you can see, I just pulled up a route that has 27 kickouts on it. All right. If I just want to see all of the unmatched records, I would need to click on Final Unmatched Records so that I'm only displaying the records that have an unmatched status. That's the U. Okay, so I have the address here, the apartment number, product, so I got some information. If I click on the bullseye, I can view where that address is. I could zoom in, I could zoom out. When I zoom out a little bit, I could see where there's a little blue dot here is this pin. That's where Google thinks it is. So if I were to grab this one and move it to that one, right? And I could say the geocode, see if it comes up with any other candidates. It doesn't have any candidates. That means that this street isn't there for me to pin it to. That's why it's unmatched. It doesn't have anything to match to. It doesn't have a link ID on a street to match to be pinned to, which is pretty much all you're going to find on any of the accounts that are in this state. Because we have a lot of street drawing that we need to do. You can go here. Let's see. Let's just say this account here is matched, but you think that it's in the wrong place. You can zoom to it. And let's see. If I click on the little dots, it'll give me the address information about that account. You can unpin this account and move it to the location where you know it belongs. So I could unpin this account. Okay, now it's in an unmatched status. It turned gray. And I could re-geocode it. Then it'll give me some options here of where the system believes it goes. So usually the first one is the one that you would want to select. The range, make sure that that particular address fits within the range, has the right street address, that's the link ID information, and the score is 100%. So that means it's 100% that just, pretty much belongs there or in that range. You may find another one that may match it too, which is probably on the same street segment. Looks like that's the same location. So let's just say this is where it belongs and I want to accept that candidate. When I click on accept, just pinned it back to the correct location. So you may find something in the route book and the carrier comes back and says, this is not in the right, this address or this account is not in the right spot on the route book. It's on, the next street or it's further down. You can come here and you can unpin it and you can re-geocode it to see if there's another candidate that'll move it to the next location, or to the correct location. Any comments or questions of geocoding? If you knew a particular address that you wanted to go to, you could search it here. Again, you could select any route here. The number that's in the little bracket is showing you how many unmatched records you have on that route. These filters here will show you the final all. This means all the records, matched and unmatched, will show if you click here. Final unmatched will only show you the unmatched records. The final manually pinned records will show you what's been pinned. And this is one that was pinned. If you were running some type of UAT testing for some other restructure or something in the future, you're really not doing this now, but in the future you would be able to work on accounts and unmatched records that are in UAT or in your test environment. these panels up or down to view more of the map. You can zoom in and out. Up here, you have a satellite view where you can go to a satellite view. So this is pretty much how you use the geocoding section. Any comments or questions on that?
But can you show us how to do geocoding where none of the suggestions that come up are actually correct, and you have to actually manually pin it? Reason I'm asking, we have a lot of this here in Atlanta, and I'm sure we do in a lot of markets, where like a corner house will show on one street, but the driveway is actually off of another street, and we want to pin it to that driveway.
Yeah, well, if there's a street that needs to be drawn in, and you look for a candidate, the candidate will pin it to wherever it believes it needs to go. You can take that location and move it like I did before. I could move it to a particular location and see what the candidates are at that location. And you could pin it there. As long as it has a candidate that you could pin to. But will it pin in a driveway? It won't necessarily pin in a driveway. It'll pin to an actual street segment on the map. So there could be an adjustment in the street that we can make that will force it to pin to a particular location where you want it. Otherwise, it's going to be associated to the closest street segment.
Okay.
It'll be associated with the closest street segment. Any other questions? Okay. Overrides. We'll go over overrides. My screen is a little locked up here. Overrides. Overrides is when you want to move a particular address from one route to another. And this is associated with work area designs. So what I'm showing you here would be associated with once you move away from client level routing and you're actually using a work area design, you would want to use this tool. Otherwise, the best way to move a route or move an account from one route to another is the same way you do now. Right, on your end. But how to use this tool, you would have a work area design that you would need to select. You can also select a particular delivery type. So I don't want to get too much into detail here, but if you select the delivery type of all, your override will apply to all delivery types, whether it's a home delivery or sample or TMC or whatever. But you could narrow it down to only be for just a home delivery or for just a bulk delivery or any one of these other. So it'll only be applied if that is the customer classification on the account. The product group would be all, unless we create a new product group that would take a product code and apply it across a number of product codes. But that's, you don't need to be concerned about that. All would be sufficient. So to view your overrides, you would go here. Obviously, you don't have any overrides because you're really not using this. If you wanted to add an override, you would go here. You would put in an address. I don't know. Let's just see if I can find anything. You put in an address. And once you see the address, you can select that address and you can add an override. So what you would do is you would be taking this address, which is on this route, add an override, and you could change it to any other route. And you would confirm that. That's how you would move it to another, that address to another route. Or it could be in a large apartment complex where you need to have another route going into an apartment building to deliver a whole entirely separate wing. It could be an apartment override or a building override or a floor override. Usually it's an address override. But again, since you're on client level routing, you really wouldn't get into this much. You would still, go through the same process that you go through now to move an account from one route to another. Route viewer. Route viewer is where you can display your routes on a map. So as you can see here, I have Plan 9162 selected, and I selected the CMG final. That's what you really want to select all the time. This highlighted area here, that's your delivery territory, or what we would call a polygon. You can turn that off by unchecking this little check box here. But it's kind of good to have that polygon displayed because you may be able to find an account that's outside of the polygon, and you might want to see, why that is. It may be because that account belongs to another plant, or there needs to be some adjustments in your polygon to include a particular account that's outside. And sometimes that happens. So to display a route, you would click on a route, you click on show, and you will see where that route is. You can click on each of these little points or pins, see what address that is. You can select multiple routes, show those. Now you can see how one route relates to another as far as location. All right. You can search an address here, and that'll, just like any other, Google search, it'll search and find that particular address of where it would be on the map. Any comments or questions on how to view a route in Route Viewer? You have some other options here. You can select a street or a zip. So this territory here would be all the deliveries that are in this zip. And we're not really doing anything with the products here, but that's just another way to display the information. Most people use the route and display your routes. All right. Any comments or questions on the route viewer? Okay. I'm going to jump down to travel path since it's similar to the route viewer. And you would select the CMG final. You would select a route that you want to see. Maybe not that one. And like the route viewer, it's showing me the route, but it's also showing me a line here, a travel path that the route book is taking through the route. So I could zoom in and I could see that the red dots, an active address, the yellow dots, is an inactive address. So now I can see where the driver carrier is going to deliver these accounts. Click on the addresses over here, and it will zoom me to that address. These addresses are in the sequence order of the route book. Okay. I can add in the sequence as a label so that I can see that, what sequence number it is on the map. Right. Now you see the sequence number. Right. It's just another way to view your route on a map with a little bit more information. That includes the sequence. And you would do that with one route at a time. Any comments or questions on the travel path viewer? Similar to the route viewer, except you see the travel path of the sequence of the route book. Okay. Sequencing. Sequencing is where you can change the sequence of a route book to deliver in the order that you want the route delivered. So we can select the DSY here. You would always want to select that. And you would select the route that you would want to update the sequence. Here you see all the addresses that are in the route, okay, in the sequence order that it is in the route book. If you wanted to change the sequence, you can select one address, or you can select multiple addresses. If like this is an apartment building, let's just say you want to select that entire apartment building and you want to move it down. I could move it down. Or I could move it up. Let's see. My screen locked up here. Okay. Wait a second. Okay. So let's just say I want to take this. I could move these down in order, or I could move them up. I can drag, and I'm not really getting a response here. Let's see if we can pick a different address here. Big apartment building. Okay. I can drag and drop within this list. It's almost hard to tell because everything is the same here. Let me pick a different route. And don't worry, I didn't save it. Let's see. Okay, so if I wanted to drag this address down, now you can see it changed. Now it's at a different address here. So I could change the order of that particular address just by dragging it down like that. I could drag it over here to move to unsequence it, scroll to where I wanted to show up in the route book, and then drag it back. Yeah, if I decide that, oh no, that's a mistake, that's not what I wanted to do, before you save it, you can always go back and start all over by clicking this little button here, the double arrow. Now you can start all over. You can move things around any way you want. As long as you don't select save, it won't be saved. If you select save, your changes that you made at that point would be saved. So again, I can select an address. I can move it down using these buttons up here. I can select an address. I can move it up. I could drag it up and down. I could drag it over here, scroll to where I want to place it and move it back. I could refresh and start all over again. Once I made all of my changes, I would save it by clicking on the Save Changes. If you don't click on the Save Changes, nothing will save. Then you would move on to your next route. The carriers will have an option to update the sequence on their end as well to their DSP portal. And that's something that you guys will be reviewing next week. So that's how you use sequencing. Any comments or questions on the sequencing? Messages. You can create route book messages for every route in the plant or for particular routes. You could have it start on a particular day and end on a particular day. So, for instance, you can create a message here for everyone in the plant to bag papers. You just click on add. And, you could put double bag. All right, you can have it just for today, to tomorrow, and you can add that. Then add a message for a particular route for the day, and you could put a message here. It could be a complaint or something for a particular account that you want to make sure they don't miss the delivery. Don't delivery at whatever address, and you can put that there. You can edit, or you can deactivate, or you can add more. And this would show up on the route book. $3202. So it's 3202. 3202. Don't miss delivery. Double bag. That's the plant note showing up at the top of the route book. And the route note that's just for this particular route. Don't miss delivery. So what I did was, once I put the message there, I came back and I recreated the report. Okay. So just like with messages or with report preferences, if you make a change and you want to see how that looks in the report, then you can come here to recreate the report so that your change displays. I could come in and I could deactivate until the next time you want to put a note on your reports. You also have a portal news message here. So same as with the route reports, you can add a portal news report. Good morning. Good morning. And I want this to show Plant 9162 for CNG. Now, the system, the DSP portal or the TDS portal, we're in the TDS portal. The DSP portal would be the mobile login that your carriers would log into. So you could have it in both or just one or the other. You can put your message here. This is just like, same options you would see in like a Word document. You could change the font size, that type of stuff. You could save the changes. All right, so the notes that were entered, you can see that's the note that I just entered. If I go back to my home screen, this is where it will show. Log in. Good morning. So I could click on it. It could be a much longer message, but it'll show whatever you typed in there. That's how you get a news portal message. I can go back and I can go to the entered notes released and I can delete it. Any comments or questions on messages?
Yeah, I do have one quick question.
Okay.
When you put in the messages on the books, you indicated that you had to go back and recreate the route?
Yeah, since the reports were already created today, and I'm just now entering a new message that I wanted to show on the report.
Right.
I would have to go back and recreate the report. If I left my message there and it was for a period of time, that message would appear on the route book when the route books are processed every night.
Okay.
So in other words, Terrence, if you knew you were going to have to double bag tomorrow, you could enter that note this afternoon and it would process with the nightly processing.
All right. So, but I'm saying, okay, but do I have to recreate all the routes when I do that?
You would not have to recreate if you did that for tomorrow.
Okay. I got you.
Right. So I could make this report starting. What is today? No, it's January. Something's not right. Okay. All right. So today's the 7th. I know that it's going to be a downpour, tomorrow. So I can come in here right now and put a message in just for tomorrow, or it could be, a rainy week ahead. If you want everybody to double bag all week, you can have it for, a week or whatever. And you go in here, you have to put it in, let's say for the rest of the week. I could add my message here, and we want to be here.
Right.
Yeah, so if I want all the routes to get it, I would add in one message here, right, for the period of time that I want that to appear. All right, double bag. That message is going to appear every day for the length of time that is scheduled.
Right. Okay.
You won't have to recreate the route books. I only had to recreate the route books to demonstrate how that would appear, once you, put in a note.
Okay. Come in late after the book.
Or I mean, you may decide, I didn't put in my note that I wanted to appear on my route books. All my route books are created already without my note. What do? I go in and I put in my note, and then I recreate all my route books so that your note appears on the route book for that night's delivery.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions? So again, if you just want a note for a particular route, then you would use the route notes and select the route that you want your message to appear. Okay. Moves. know I may not have gone over this on one of the other trainings, but a move is where you can move an account from one plant to another if you have access to more than one plant. And you knew an account needed to be delivered out of the other plant. Usually when this is done, there's really some type of investigation on our end to understand whether that account really needs to go into the other plant or not. You just don't want to take an account that's clearly in the middle of your delivery area and move it to another plant. You really wouldn't want to do that. But there could be a situation on the border of two plants where there could be a border adjustment that may need to be done. And so we would go in and move that account and make the adjustment in the border of the plant so that that account always falls in the correct plant. So you would probably really want to contact us or put in a request in your press service portal, letting us know that this particular account is in the wrong plant, so we could do some investigation. If we find that it's correct, then we could move it. But otherwise, this would be the move tool that we would use, where you can select the plant that you want to move an account from. And since this particular account that I'm logged into has more than one plant that it has access to, that means that I can use this tool. So that's what I'm going to show you. So let's just say the neighboring plant the neighboring plant would be what? Let's just say it's 9161. I can move an entire zip code, which you really wouldn't do that. You would have to talk to us if you wanted to do that. That would be a change in the plant territory. Same thing with routes. Accounts, you'd really want to do the same thing. Speak to us first about it. But you can select an account. You could select a date for it to move. So the earliest date, you can see how the date has a little dash mark to it. That means you can't select that date. So the next possible date for it to be able to move would be the 9th. And you can pick a particular qualifier, like a product or delivery type, but you're picking the account, so you really wouldn't need to worry about that. And then what you would do is you would upload a file that has the accounts in it. So let me show you what that looks like. Here's an example. So what you have here is a CSV file that you would have to upload. So column A would have the product code. Column B would have the account number. There's no headers, right? So you would list the account numbers with the product codes here in this file in the same order that you see here: product code, account number, and save that file, right, as a CSV format. And you would browse for that file and select it and upload it. That's how you would move the account. But I don't think that most of you are really happy to do that.
Fred, none of these will have the ability to do that. All moves are going to go through us.
That'll go to you. Okay. All right, good. So this is one way you can do that. Let's see. If Another thing that I want to show you, moving over here to the route planning, is the starting location. In the starting location, this is just where you'll find your office location for your plant. You wouldn't want to delete it. You know, all your routes are assigned to this plant. If for some reason down the road you move to a new building, you can change this address location to the new office location. There's other stuff in here. You could assign a warehouse name. So you could have a name of an office here, or warehouse that may be servicing multiple distribution centers. And let me see. I think that's pretty much all I need to show you there. Any questions on anything that we've gone over today? Let me just recap. For starts, mail, for new starts, see all the new starts for today. You go to new starts, select your plant. Most of you only have the plant that you have access to. You can select the new start with an address change, or new start address change stops if you wish, and select the date, the from and to, and you would get that report to view all of your new start today. Account info is where you could search for an account by the address, and you would get the account here. By phone number, you would get it by phone number by clicking that, or by the account number. Enter the account number here, and you would get the information there. And you would have information regarding that account once you pull it up. Bunch of address information, whether the account is active or not, etc. You have these buttons down here where you can refresh an account. You can submit it to MRI, which is the same as entering it here in the address lookup to see if it's a valid address in your delivery area. Or you can add an address instruction by selecting that. The address lookup is where you could type in the product and the address to confirm that it's within your delivery area. If not, we would have to system change to a territory change to make sure that that account falls in the correct territory. Or we have to make some adjustments in the coordinates that are associated with that account to make sure it falls in the correct territory. To download all your deliveries, you would go to download deliveries. You'd want to select CMG file, final, show progress, and download locations. And you would get a file that looks like this. It has everything in it. And you can use that data to do some analysis and whatever you need to do. Late truck. If you want to move a product from one day to the next or to a future date, you could select that product out of the route book for today. And you'd want to either include all of your routes or only include some of your routes. Usually it's all of your routes. And you'll want to include your product and schedule it for the day you want it to appear in the route book. And schedule your run. Dispatching is where you can split a route book, recreate a route book, resequence or optimize a route book, or combine route books together. You could select the route. You could select all of your products and the type of route book that you want it to be displayed in. You would go to the dispatching scenarios to view what you combined or split. And this combined route that we did into 3 routes, you can see that that's here. And you could view the summary reports. You could view the route books. And you could assign each of these new routes that were created to whatever route that's going to be delivering. For geocoding, is where you can select a route and look at the unmatched records to see if you're able to pin that account. Let's see. So when I went to the unmatched record, I just zoomed out a little bit to see if I could find where Google thinks it is on the map. And I don't have any candidates found. So this means that I would probably need to draw in the street, which again, that's pretty much what we need to do for all of these. Reassignments. This is where you can move account from one route to another by selecting all or selecting some accounts for the day and reassign it to a new route, and that'll just be for today. Override is where you can override that's a permanent change and override an account from one route to another. So again, you guys would be doing that on your end, moving accounts from one route to another until you move off of the client level routing. Route Viewer will show you your routes on a map. This is your delivery territory that's highlighted. To remove it, you can click on the little box right there. You can select the route to view. Click on Show. That'll show you your route. You can click on the pins and you can see what address that is. You can zoom in and out. And you can see a satellite view. Let's see if you like that view better. Sequencing is where you would go in, you would select DS, select the route that you want to sequence, and you could rearrange just by moving addresses up and down or dragging them. You can move them up and down using the up and down key. Once you select it, you can refresh your screen if you want to start all over. And once you make your changes, you can save them by selecting Save Changes. Messages, you have the route book messages and the portal messages. Route book messages will show up at the top of the route book for the entire plant. You would select this. If it's for a particular route, you would select just route notes. All right. And you would schedule for your notes to appear starting from whatever day until whatever day. And you can deactivate it once you create it. You can deactivate it once it's no longer needed. Same with the portal news. You make your message here, give it a title, schedule it for it to show for a period of time. You could have it display in just the TDS portal or the DSP portal or both. That means your DSPs will see those when they log in, the carriers. They'll see the message. And that message will show here on your home screen. Moves, you really won't have access to do that. And the travel path viewer is where you can select the CMG final and select a route to view where the sequence is taking them through the route. These are your addresses on the side here in sequence order. You can click on it and it will zoom to that particular location. And if you want to add a label for the sequence to show, you can apply that and it'll show you the sequence number next to the address on the map. Okay, that's all I have to review today. Are there any comments or questions that we have at this point? Anyone?
Must have done a good job, Fred. Nobody's got any questions.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Awesome.
Remember, you're gonna be tested next week, so you may want to practice
In the test environment, not in live.
Yeah, you want to go to the test environment, and again, you know you're in the test environment by the yellow header. If you're not in the yellow header, then don't make any changes. Okay? Here, you can play around and do whatever you want. Not going to hurt anything. Okay? Anything else? We have a spare 10 minutes. Okay, guys, if there's nothing else, then I'm going to end the session for today. Okay?
Thanks,
So,
Thanks, Fred. Appreciate it, Fred.
Okay, thank you, Jackie.
Jackie.
I'll see you later. Have a good day.
All right. Take care.
Bye.